The aims of the lesson are to describe the four basic types of animal tissues, as well as identify the role of epithelium, connective tissue, muscle tissue, as well as nerve tissue. The advanced organizer being used is the clustering advanced organizer. It is going to be used to describe our main idea, which are those four basic tissue types, as well as their roles. With such, this advanced organizer is going to be used with each of those four branches seen, representing each of those four main tissue types. This way, students will be able to describe as well as identify the roles of those four basic tissue types with each of those four branches and those three branches that come from each of those branches. So, to begin things, a tissue consists of a group of closely associated and similar cells carrying out a very specific function or specific functions. The four kinds of animal tissue is going to be epithelial, connective, muscle, and nerve tissue, representing those four branches seen in the clustering advanced organizer. Each of the tissue kind is composed of cells with characteristic sizes, shapes, as well as arrangements. And finally, each type of tissue is specialized to perform a specific function or group of functions. I'll begin with epithelium. The epithelium consists of cells that are tightly fitted together to form one continuous layer of cells. So one surface is exposed, such as covering the body, the outer layer of the skin, or even lining a cavity in a hollow organ, such as the lumen or the hole in the intestine. The outer surface attaches to the underlying tissue by a non-cellular basal membrane. Everything that enters or leaves the body must cross at least one layer of epithelium. To regulate exchange between the body and the external environment. So epithelial tissues perform many functions including protection, absorption, secretion, and sensation. Finally, the epithelial layer of skin, called our epidermis, covers and protects the entire body. So to begin with our first branch coming from our advanced clustering organizer, we'll begin with simple squamous epithelial cells. They are thin, flat cells. Next, there could be cuboidal epithelial cells. They are short and there are 8 sides. 8 sides to them, just as a cube would be. Thereafter, there are columnar epithelial cells. They have columns or cylinders, and they may have cilia that move materials over the surface. So, of course, there is simple epithelium. That means it has one layer of cells, usually located where substances are secreted, excreted, absorbed, or even diffused across the membrane. Our next branch would be stratified epithelium. Stratified epithelium has 2 or more layers protecting the underlying tissues. And finally, our last branch of epithelium leads us to pseudo-stratified epithelium. It appears layered, but it is not layered. There's only one layer. Our next branch in our clustering advanced organizer is going to be connective tissue. These tissues support and cushion body surfaces. Cells are embedded in an intracellular substance consisting of thread-like fibers scattered through a matrix of polysaccharides secreted by the cells. The structure and function of each kind of epithelial tissue is determined in part by the properties of its intercellular substance. Collagen fibers are composed of tough, fibrous proteins that remain intact when the tissue is stretched. Elastic fibers, they branch and form networks composed of elastin and return to the original size when stretched. Reticular fibers are networks of tissues. They are thin branched fibers consisting of collagen and some glycoprotein. Fibroblasts, they produce the fibers, protein, and carbohydrate complexes of the matrix, especially active in developing tissues and important in healing wounds. And finally, we are at macrophages. These types are the body scavenger cells wandering through connective tissues, cleaning up debris, and engulfing foreign matter, including bacteria. So with the branch for connective tissue, in those branches from such, we have the 7 main types of connective tissue. We have elastic and reticular tissues, loose and dense connective tissues. We have bone, blood, cartilage, and limb. Next to our third branch in our clustering advanced organizer, we have muscle. Muscle enables movement by contraction of muscle cells. There are lone, cylindrical, and spindle-shaped muscle cells that are called muscle fibers because of their length. Each muscle fiber contains many thin, parallel contractile units. They're called myofibrils, composed of myosin and actin proteins. Vertebrates have three types of muscle tissue. They are the branches that I have in the clustering advanced organizer, skeletal, cardiac, and smooth. Skeletal muscle, large muscle masses that are attached to bones of the body and move body parts. The muscle fibers are long with many nuclei. Generally, it is voluntary, and it has alternating light and dark striations. Those striated fibers contract rapidly but must relax and rest momentarily before contracting again. Cardiac muscle, it is the main tissue of the heart which pumps the blood. Muscle fibers join end to end, branch and rejoin to form complex networks. Each fiber has one or two nuclei. It has specialized junctions where fibers join. Cardiac fibers also have striations. And finally on to smooth muscle. It occurs in the walls of the digestive tract, in the uterus, blood vessels, and many other hollow internal organs. Each spindle fiber contains a single central nucleus. Smooth muscle cells are not striated. And finally, when the smooth muscle walls of an arteriole contracts, the vessel constricts, raising the blood pressure. And now to our final branch in the clustering advanced organizer, nerve tissue. It consists of the brain and spinal cord, of course, and it has neurons and glial cells. The neurons receive and transmit signals. Glial cells are support cells. They support and nourish the neurons, destroy pathogens, and modulate the transmission of impulses. While some neurons transmit signals directly to the spinal cord and brain, others relay, process, or store information. Some neurons transmit signals from the brain and spinal cord to muscles and glands. So, a neuron. It has a cell body, which contains a nucleus, and cytoplasmic extensions, which are dendrites which receive and transmit signals to the cell body, a single axon that transmits signals away from the cell body, and they communicate at cell junctions called synapses. And finally, a nerve consists of many neurons bound together by connective tissue. Use of this clustering advanced organizer should allow you all to relate it directly to our cell theory, the way that it's made, in the main idea being the centerpiece. Along with the cell theory, we also have levels of organization, meaning all of these things fit in together well with that main idea being cells are that most basic unit of organization. Cells come together to make up tissues. Those tissues come together to make up organs, and those organs come up to make organ systems, and all of those things work together to form an organism.